Good afternoon, YouTube. My name is Brandon and welcome back. In last week's episode, I unveiled our newest project, which is right here behind me. We figured out what was wrong with the steering, replaced the sector gear, we did some fabrication, replaced some tubes, put some tubes in some tires, and just kind of went over everything that was wrong with this project. In this week's video, we're going to continue on our fabrication. We've got to continue putting this thing back together. We've got some welding to do. Stick around. So guys, before we dig in, I want to show you my latest find. And maybe it's as you get older thing, but I'm finding that I'm attracted to yard sales, and I picked up these nice files recently that were on a lawn sale. Paid $2 for them. You can see that's a we got a Simmons. They're all Simmons except for this one, which is a Nicholson. So, and that's just a little guy. Yeah, $2. These ones actually had the handles on it. But yeah, it's always nice to have a nice file for metal working. If you guys don't have any files, go around and pick some up. I don't know, it's enjoyable to do. Anyways, let's get into it. So I think the first thing we'll do is we will work on putting a new drive belt on it. I think that's this one. I'm not sure. I know I ordered a couple belts. I'm not sure which one this is. Alright guys, I found a diagram online. I printed it off and I'm trying to compare what is installed on there now for a belt as to how it's routed. And remember in the first episode I said I didn't think that the belt was on right? Well, this kind of confirms it. So the gray one is the one we're trying to do right now, okay? And where it goes through this pulley, so here's the engine. This is the rear end, we'll call it. So this little idle assembly, it's actually rigged up wrong in this area. When it comes off the pulley, when it comes up to the idlers, they're supposed to be together right here. The belts are supposed to be side by each with that little support pin or keeper pin in between them. Right now it's installed on this side of the pulley. Let me show you. It's going to be hard probably to see it, but here is the front pulley and it runs down and it's going on this side of it. There's that little keeper pin right here. That belt should be coming this way down through here and then back to the rear end. So that could be why this belt is so tore up and so frayed, because it looks super bad. So I got the old belt off and I got the new one on, and just look at this belt. I mean, it's ruined. So everything is back on it. That's a genuine MTD belt. I've put the clutch back on too. That's pretty basic. Put a little bit of never seize on the end of that bolt, and then I torqued that to 40 foot-pounds is what the factory recommended. Let me show you what's going on up back. That belt that you see right there, that is going towards the front. That's the belt we just put on, and then it split, and then there's like a section there, and then right above it there's also another area for a pulley that wraps around this and then goes up to that pulley that's up. It's hard to see right there. Here's that belt, but you see that belt? That's how that was on that machine. Well, it's actually on backwards. The belt was inside out when it was installed. The belt should have been hard doing it one-handed. Let's see, come on, almost, there we go. The belt should have been like that, and I know you can't see it, but this would be the wide side of the belt, and then this would be the tapered side. There really isn't a tapered side anymore. It's kind of worn its own taper in because it's been used basically inside out. So should perform remarkably better once this belt comes in. And if you guys remember from last week's video, I'll put a link right up here. This is all broken. You can see how that's all cracked in there. So we gotta repair that. This side's doing the same thing. I don't know what would cause this. Now you can't just weld this up. There's actually gonna have to be a process that we do to fix this so that it doesn't crack again. But I don't know why this would have broken. If you guys know anything about these tractors, I don't know, maybe they hit something, or I don't know. I don't know what caused it, but I know we gotta fix it. Right, so we're facing the front of the tractor. First thing I gotta do is get this implement piece off. So I just gotta pull these little hitch pins that are on each side, and that'll drop that out of the way. And this side doesn't have a hitch pin. Somebody's used a cotter pin, so we're gonna have to pick up one of those in the future. But those are cheap. It probably isn't more than, probably less than $1. There, now we got that out of there. Now we can take that bracket off. Now I've got the jack stand supported with some jacks up under the frame here. I really don't know what's going to happen when I take this bracket off. I think that this may help the front end pivot, but I don't really know. I guess we'll find out together. So somebody must have whacked something pretty hard. Now let's pop the other side off. We'll see what it does. Okay guys, this is pretty slick. Now these two, I'm doing this one-handed, so bear with me. Those two bolt holes that you see right there, they actually hold this whole shield and whatnot and the muffler up all as one. But once those are out, watch how this works. Come on, come on. There, look at that, press fit. It's just a pressure fit holding that muffler on. So that's pretty slick. You see that hole right there? Let me show you how this all comes together. So when that sits on there like that, this might be hard. This shoulder bolt right here goes through that whole juliper, and what that does is that keeps this rigid, but as you can see, it also helps basically sandwich that part of the front end together. Well, this side, the nut was completely missing from it, so that might be some of the reason why that's all split open. So, and you can see they're all numbered right, and I'm sure that one probably says left, or it doesn't say anything, I don't know. But we'll get that side off, we'll get them down to the shop, and we'll get them fixed up. They'll be just like new. What we're going to do, and I think the best way to go about this, is to create a device that doesn't allow this to spread or to close. So I think what I'm going to do is, I got a little piece of scrap metal here, is I'm going to take this, pull this bracket closed, and then use a punch, which is made to find the centers, and it's just a punch kit. It's just an inexpensive thing I picked up online. So, and what we'll do is we're going to drift that down through, punch that, we'll punch that one, and then I will put a bolt up through that hole that we punched on each side, and then that'll help locate exactly where that bracket goes based on this little temporary piece. So then we can prep this up, do what we need to do, and then the second one, it should be the same. So this should be a pretty tight fit. That's that side. Now we just got to mark out the other side, do the same thing. So the next thing we got to do is we got to prep this joint. We got to get it notched out and ground out. And for this, I'm going to use the Lennox Metal Max disc. Had really good luck with it. I like it because it keeps the same shape. Plus, it's metal and diamond, so I want to TIG weld this, so it's not going to leave any of the abrasive contaminant behind within the prep. So let's get to going on this. Alright, so here we are. I've got that joint all prepped. You can see how I've almost cut all the way through it. So that's all beveled out. I've got all the surrounding paint ground away on it. Flip it over to the back. You can see how I've prepped it the same way. There's only one more thing we have to do. Now, to prevent this from continuing further, even after the repair, we got to relieve the stress in it by drilling a hole. I'm just doing a 3/16 hole right at the end of the crack of this, and we'll just fill it all in, weld it all in. Piece of cake. Now that we know that our repair is going to remain where we want it to be, we'll take our guide that we just built, or our template piece, and we'll install it. Now we'll just snug these nuts up. We'll know that this joint is nice and tight where it needs to be, and then when we go to do the second one, we know that they'll both all be identical. Each repair will be exact same. This is what I was telling you about. You see how that crack right along there? Well, and you can actually see it back there, but that crack there, now that we've drilled that, that terminated that. That will not spread over to this side. We've done a proper repair. So now we just got to get the welder set up and we'll get it welded. Alright, what do we got here? We're at 15. Turn it on. Somewhere there's a switch. There we go. And let's go 100 and let's say 20 amps. This is roughly 10 gauge material. That should be pretty good. And I'm not going to say too much about this welder, but they have finally lowered the price, but we'll just keep it at that. All right, here we go. I'm using 3/32 filler wire to do this. That's welding up really nice. I'm going to hit it with a second pass, then we'll grind it, and we'll be done. And there it is. I'm going to grind it up just so you'll never ever see that repair. And then we'll spray it green, and it'll be just as good as new. This is what it looked like on the back side. You can see how that pretty much welded completely right straight through the other side, and that's what you want. You want to get nice and deep. You want real deep penetration on this. So that's a good repair. We don't have any worries with that. There it is. Scored it with some paint, and it is done. I'll pull this bracket off, bolt it onto this one, do this repair the same way. I'm not going to film it doing that because repairing that one is the exact same as repairing this. We'll just put everything together nice and loose at first. This was the side that was missing the nut on that shoulder bolt that goes through here. So I picked some up at our local Tractor Supply. Alright, let's get these bushings replaced. Look how, see how much slop there is in here? Well, all that extra slop and stuff is going to wear that gear. And I think between maybe a combination between maybe the tires constantly going flat, creating extra rolling resistance, along with these bushings so the tires aren't always tracking in the same way, that could be what contributed to the extra wear on that gear. So by replacing all this stuff, I think that's going to make that gear last so much longer. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's kind of like a ring with some ears on it that has a little detent to fit in. So I think if I just keep gently prying up on this, it should there. It looks like it's starting to go. There we go. And we'll draw that out. And that's all these bushings are. They were, they just go in there. They were $6 to do both sides. And yeah, there they are. Good as new. Oh, what's this? That whole juliper comes right off. This one looks like it's broken on the bottom. Oh yeah. Look how worn that one is, guys. That juliper's worn right through. So this should tighten the front end up considerably, but we'll see. Alright, so here we go. We got the tires all on, the front end's all together. I didn't show you guys me putting tubes in the tires, but that's pretty straightforward. Got all the brackets done. I think we're to the point right now where we're ready to try it, so let's get the battery box in that we fabricated. And we'll throw the battery in, get it tightened down, and see if this thing works. So let me show you something, guys, that works good for electrical connections, like battery connections, to keep them from corroding or whenever you're connecting dissimilar metals. This stuff right here, you can find this in the electrical aisle at most like big box stores. This is used on like connections when you put like a new electrical service on your house, or you know, for connecting heavy wires, but it also works good for doing stuff like this. Just put a little bit on, it's like a paste, and it'll just prevent these connections from corroding and going bad over time. It's just a good, that way you don't have to mess with it. I'm getting excited, guys. Yeah, I'm excited for this. Alright, let's try it this time. This time we'll put it in gear though.
Alright.
I had it in neutral last time.
that would be a success.
That was awesome! We did it! Holy smokes, guys. I was stressing over that big time. When I went and started it and put my foot down on the pedal and nothing happened, I was like, oh no. Because if you remember back in episode 1, it was making like a weird sound. It did move frontwards and backwards, but it sounded weird and it wasn't right. And I had assumed that the belts were bad. But so the lesson to this is it actually works much better if you put it in gear and then press that pedal down. So I had it in neutral. Just rookie mistake. Hey Lola. Hey Lola. I think that's going to do it for this week's episode, guys. It's already getting a little too long. You guys liking these longer episodes, and what do you guys think of this content? I know it's a little bit of a variation away from my normal welding content or creative side content, but I kind of enjoy this too. I like, wrenching a little bit. It's kind of nice. I personally like it, so I figured I'd take you guys along with me for it. So stick around next week where we're going to go over this. We're going to take this old beat up hood and we're going to try to get it to look like brand new. I'm going to show you how to put tubes in these tires. We're going to refurbish this mower deck and pretty much get this project wrapped up. I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to know about any of the things that you see me using for tools or whatnot, it's down in the description. And you guys can catch me on Facebook and Instagram at Brandon Lund DIY Builds. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, guys. See ya.